All right, welcome to part two of the 2020 U.S. Masters for Kings of War matchup cast. I'm John Vanas. I'm the other TO running the event along with Corey Reynolds here. And we've got a couple of guests on to kind of run through some of these matchups. You guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, sure. I guess I'll go first from the awkward pause.
Yeah, there we go.
Uh, I'm Brenton Williams. I'm a TO for the West Region's largest and only two-day GT, Bay of Kings. And then I also write for Dash 28 and do sort of metagame analysis there. And I am a West Region Masters player. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Uh, I'm Ryan Munsell, and I am the chair for the Pacific Northwest on the Masters Committee, and this will be my third Kings War Masters coming up.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. Be good to go through this and see what we got. So let's just jump right into it. I don't want to waste any time. I mean, we'll do this kind of normally as we usually do. I think some people probably listen just on audio, so it's worth talking the lists over so you don't have to see it. We'll start on table 17 because they did 1 through 16 the other day. So table 17 for starters is going to be Jeff Franz versus Nathan Clevenger. Ryan, why don't you kick us off with one of these lists?
All right, so Jeff is running Goblins. Unit strength 28. He has 2 sharp stick hordes, 3 Luggett gang regiments, 3 rabble regiments, 3 mincer mob troops, 2 blasters, 2 kings on chariot, 2 rock throwers, king on foot with Jarris pendant, a whiz with inspiring talisman and banechant, and another whiz with banechant.
It's a lot of stuff.
And, yeah. And Nathan is running Night Stalkers, unit strength 23. He had a Bloodworm Legion with the Hammer Measure Force, a Reaper Regiment with Blade of Slashing, a Butcher Horde with the Blessing of the Gods, another Butcher Horde with Mace of Crushing, a Shadowhound Regiment with Sharpness, 2 Phantom Troops, 2 Mind Screeches, 1 Planner Apparition, 1 Dread Fiend, 1 Shade with Mournful Blade, and a Horror with the Boomstick, the Vicious Aura for Infantry, and Banechant.
All right, you guys probably going to pick up the audio on the video there that a call just came into my computer, so I apologize about that. Ryan, you didn't hear it, but yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this one? We obviously don't know what the scenario is, and we haven't seen the maps yet. I've seen the maps, but you guys haven't seen the maps, so it's a little bit hard to say. You know. I also haven't played against the new Night Stalkers at all, so I don't have a great feel for how some of these things work.
Well, a lot of people are going to be because I think they're the tied for the most represented army at Masters for this year. By my count at least, which might be sketchy. So everyone gets to play against Night Stalkers that weekend. Even Night Stalkers will probably get to play against Night Stalkers. So this is an interesting goblin list because while it has a couple rock throwers,
it's not loaded up on them.
No, it kind of wants to fight.
Yeah, Banechants.
It kind of wants
2 Banechants.
It's got mincer mobs. It's got Luggets. It's here to fight. So is this Night Stalker list. The Reaper Regiment with Blade of Slashing just puts out a crap ton of attacks. Butcher Hordes put out a bunch of attacks at slightly lower amount. There's a Shadowhound Regiment with Brew of Sharpness, getting that sharpness on the cheap with the regiment over on the Night Stalker side, and then a bunch of other utility. I like the Night Stalker list in this matchup. I don't know about overall against everything. It seems good, but I like it a lot in this matchup because it's built to just kill stuff.
And I think it's got a lot of the tools to shred through some of those goblin units. And the rock flowers are not going to be particularly effective against the Night Stalkers here.
Yeah, goblins are going to have to go to the Night Stalkers here, I think, because he has 2 Mind Screeches and a Planner Apparition to heal everything up. So the goblins can't just hang back. They're going to have to move in.
Right.
And then I think the Night Stalkers outrange him with some stuff as well. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
think it's scenario wise about, a lot of them involve capturing objectives and stuff. So the goblins are going to have to be on the move. Um, I think this is a tough matchup for Jeff,
Yeah.
even
Don't.
despite the fact that he really doesn't have that much shooting.
Yeah.
It's still tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's two kings on chariots, which that's what 14 like short bow shots with steady aim.
Yeah, it's
which
something.
against other armies matter. Night Stalkers laugh at that. So.
All right. Well, I think this is a pretty solid. Then we think Nathan's got a big leg up on this one.
Yep.
Good. All right, let's move on to table 18. Here we're talking Anthony Zamuda versus Ray Shields. Brent, you want to grab this one?
Sure. So Anthony Zamuda is playing Trident Realm of, I'll never pronounce it right, Neritica, whatever. Unit strength 23, and a whole bunch of placoderm regiments. So 1, 2, 3, 4 placoderm regiments with nothing. A Naiad Worm Rider Horde with Brew of Strength. A River Guard Dambuster Horde with Brew of Sharpness. So those are two big, hard-hitting, chunky units.
Yep.
2 Knuckers, a Naiad Worm Rider Centurion, 2 Depth Horror Eternals, a Thule Aquamage with Weakness, a Siren with the Inspiring Talisman and Weakness, and Ector. And kicking over to Ray Shield's side, he's playing Ratkin, unit strength 31. I don't know. That seems low for me for Ratkin. I'm expecting unit strength 60 and above. So he has a Shock Troop Horde with the Potion of the Caterpillar and Plague Pots. Shock Troop Horde with Brew of Strength and Plague Pots. Shock Troop Horde with Brew of Sharpness and Plague Pots. So a lot of big money items.
Yeah, a lot of price there. It's expensive stuff.
Yeah, and Plague Pots, which are just fucking amazing. 2 Shock Troop Regiments, 1 with the Blade of Slashing. 3 Wretch Hordes. It's just great when you're getting a horde of anything for 115. 3 Clawshot Troops. Something I'm going to try and pronounce. Skudzaluk, Demon Spawn of Diu. A Warlock with Banechant, a Swarm Crier with the Loot, and a Swarm Crier with Trickster's Wand. So.
Yes, I mean, Ray, I really like the Knuckers. I think they're great on the Trident Realm side. And then the other thing I think to know is Ray's got some really expensive units in there and then some really cheap units on the flip side. So not a lot of in between there. That's a super elite Ratkin list, I guess.
I mean, sure, it's super elite, and then it has,
it's got
was that nine unit strength of 115 point hordes.
Those hordes are unit strength 4, aren't they?
No, the legions are 4.
Oh, okay.
Hordes. I'm not that good. I just have a book.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's good to have a book.
I do not know that much about the Ratkin army.
Yeah,
I know Wretch Horde unit strength off the back.
Right, so he's making up with cheap unit strength on some units. Clawshot troops should do work, although against a lot of things, I don't know if they're particularly effective against this Trident Realm list.
Yeah, the weakness works on those claw shots too.
Yeah. What's the range on weakness?
24.
Yeah,
or 18?
it's shorter than the claw shots, but it's still.
I mean, Anthony's from my region. I've played a different iteration of this list, and I think this one that he put out is the best. There's 2 Knuckers, a Wormrider Centurion, and 2 Depth Horror Eternals. That's 5 nimble things.
Right.
That can get into a flank.
So I really like this Trident Realm list. But that's like a sandwich compliment where you say the nice thing first and then you insult it. No, I think it's an awesome army. It has this super solid center that people have to deal with, and then a whole bunch of fast, maneuverable, annoying stuff to tear apart flanks, open up, all different types of charge angles. He has a Siren to mess with you. He has Ector, which is just this stupid little roadblock.
Yep.
like Ryan called out, he has 2 Knuckers, a Centurion, and 2 Depth Horror Eternals, which will be all over the place. If you haven't played a Depth Horror Eternal, just imagine an annoying ogre character, a more annoying ogre character, and that's what it is. But he's facing wall-to-wall rats.
Yeah, just troops,
Like,
right? So it's probably not that much room for him to get around flanks, to be quite honest, because Ray can cover that all pretty well with terrain elements in the mix.
That's what my like simple brain is seeing, is like, this is a great list for game 2 through 6. And game 1 is just that horrible matchup you run into, where you're just facing wall-to-wall rats, and they're not bad. It's not like goblins where you're just fighting them. These are going to put hurt on things.
Yeah, they hurt. And he's got the Bane Chant as well. 2 Bane Chants, actually, to back that up. So they all fight pretty good. Even the Shock Troop regiments fight pretty good.
Do the Shock Troops have Crushing 1 natively or not? I've not played the new Racken yet.
I will know in a minute.
I haven't played him either.
Because if they don't...
I think they do, though.
Crush 1.
Yeah.
Okay, then they can chew through the placket rooms then. If they didn't...
Yeah, I mean, the bad news is they hit on 4.
But it's still a lot of attacks with probably Crushing Strength 2 coming on them. So that...
Although there's weakness, too. Oh, man, this is a tough one.
I think Ray just has the number of units there to make this a problem for Anthony.
Yeah.
He also has the guy I can't pronounce.
And the demon spawn shouldn't be ignored. That's a big flyer to get in there and cause problems. This is a case where I think the Knuckers and the Depth Horrors and stuff are actually pretty good at kind of keeping the demon spot at bay, because they can cover a lot of different angles, and the demon spawn might not want to jump in a place where he takes a flank from one of those. But that's a good cat and mouse game for them to play.
Yeah, and every one of those nimble things that is playing, sweeper against the demon spawn that's just being held back for whatever it needs to do is not something that's aggressively getting around a side and winning the game for them.
It's true.
I don't know.
It's tying up a 345-point demon spawn, though. So
sure,
probably worth it. If I was gonna make a guess here, I would probably give this one to Ray. I think that Racken list is going to be tough for a lot of people to deal with, to be honest.
Yeah.
I also have a lot of experience against Trident Realms, so some of these things I haven't seen in action, and so it's hard for me to make an assessment on it.
Yeah, they came in pretty in force this Masters as well. I think I counted 4 Trident Realm armies after having very few in previous events. So
cool. You just want to make it.
I'm picking Ray Shields as well.
Ray too. Ryan?
It's close, so I'm going to go with Anthony.
Yeah, go with your guy, man. Absolutely.
But, I mean, I know I said a lot, but scenario's going to matter, because I don't think there's going to be a lot of things dying here. And Ray has more unit strength. So if things are not dying, then that plays to Ray's advantage.
Sure. But
Anthony's army's faster, much faster, minus the demon spawn. So, I mean, Anthony's going to have to play the heck out of it, because Ray's a good player. I played him last year. But if Anthony plays well, I think Anthony can get it.
All right. There we go. Vote for your own people. Like it. Moving on to table 19. We got Riley Nadeau and Keith Conroy. So Riley's taking Night Stalkers. He's rocking 26 unit strength. He's got a Doppelganger regiment with Sir Jesse's Boots of Striding. Like to see Doppelgangers. That's cool. 2 regiments of Reapers, a horde of Butchers with a Healing Brew, 2 regiments of Scarecrows, 2 regiments of Soul Flayers, 3 Mind Screeches, 2 Planar Apparitions, a Butcher Flesh Ripper with the Trickster's Wands, and a Horror with the Inspiring Talisman, the Vicious Aura, and Bane Chant replacing Lightning Bolt. He's going to be up against my own Keith Conroy with unit strength 22. He's got the Herd. He's got a Spirit Walker Horde with a Brew Haste, a Lycan Horde with a Chalice of Wrath, a lot of magic items here, a Lycan Horde with Dwarven Ale, a Brace Rider, Centaur Brace Rider Regiment with the Blade of Slashing, and then another one with no item, 3 Troops of Harpies, 2 Beasts of Nature, both have wings and the 7 attack upgrade, Moonfang, who's pretty cool, a Druid with Shroud of the Saint and Bane Chant, and a Steed, and another one with the Conjurer's Staff instead of Shroud of the Saint.
I'll start it off here. I've played Riley's list many times. I've lost every game.
I looking at it, it
It
does
is
look pretty
it
tough.
it
Yeah.
is nasty. Those planner apparitions are, I mean, and he out unit strengths and out shoots Keith.
So are you telling us about the strength of Riley's list or the weakness of yours, Ryan?
Both. I
Fair.
mean, I've played him with multiple lists. I mean, he's it's Night Stalkers are just gross. That Busher Flesh Ripper is nothing to scoff at either.
What's his deal?
He's just a butcher character. He's a defense 5, 13, 15 maybe.
Yeah, so he's
Just
annoying.
another annoying ogre character.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's got the Trickster's Wand for Morgoth, I'm assuming.
Yep. I have personally played against Keith's list, which I like his list. I do think looking at the Night Stalkers here, though, this is a tough matchup. I mean, Keith wants to get into combat. That's what all this stuff does. But the Night Stalkers have a bunch of nasty combat units too, and the shooting, and the planar apparitions. So, yikes.
Yeah, I feel bad saying this, but that herd list is missing some stampedes. Like, it's fucking crying out for them. Like, you see this and you're like, cool, we have fast kind of hitty, we have hitty but not as fast and not as maneuverable with the Spirit Walkers, but and then we've got it just, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of good elements in that herd list, and maybe they all come together in the end, but I'm just seeing buzzsaws and lightning bolt machines on the other side.
That's it. I agree.
Reaper regiments, 25 attacks, crush 1, and going to be vicious from the aura from the horror is just...
That's a problem for everything in Keith's list.
Yeah, because the crush 1 is what you need for what he's facing.
Right, exactly. Things like Lycans don't survive long against that.
Yeah, region and heal doesn't mean anything if you're not there.
Right.
And he'll just shoot chaff off too.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Being able to shoot the chaff off is also very important.
He can't hide it either because those minus creatures are height 5. So he has nothing to really hide his harpies behind.
Yeah, but I mean those lightning bolts aren't just shooting harpies. They're taking their pick on Bray Striders, harpies, whatever they kind of want.
Druids,
just trying to take
druids.
The healers, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, Keith, you're pushing uphill here, bud.
I'm not telling Riley it's target priority, but he's got some choices to make because it's all good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Whether he's shooting off units or shooting off chaff, it's good for him either way. So, all right, seems like a clean sweep there. I think we're all voting for Riley on this one.
Well, the thing is, like, I don't know a lot of these guys.
Yeah, it's always when you can't put the personalities in. It's hard. I mean, I play against Keith all the time. I know Keith's a good player. He's smart, but and the scenario matters to this extent. I don't know how much the scenario really matters in this one, but without knowing it, it is a little bit hard to say. If this ends up being dominate, I don't know what does that do for the way we talk about it. But generally speaking,
what I'm trying to say is that I'm picking Riley based on his list. So if he loses, it's all Riley's fault.
Perfect.
Like I wasn't wrong in my pick. He was wrong on how he played it.
Awesome. All right, Ryan, you're up with the next one. This is table 20. We're talking Grant Barnes in his League of Rortia versus Brian Tucker with his Undead.
All right, so Grant's rocking Rortia unit strength 25. He has a Spear Phalanx Horde with pikes. Another one of those. He has a Foot Guard Horde with Hammer Measured Force. An Honor Guard Horde with Indomitable Will. Another one of those. 2 Halfling Brave Regiments. A Duke on Ancient Winged Aeroless with Haste. A Baron on Aeroless with Slashing. A Battle Shrine. 3 Cannons. And a Baron with Pipes of Terror on a horse. Mm-hmm. Brian Tucker is rocking unit strength 27. He has 5 zombie hordes, 2 wraith regiments, a zombie regiment, a Vampire Lord on Undead Dragon with Lightning Bolt 4, another Vampire Lord on Undead Dragon with Lightning Bolt 4, a third Vampire Lord on Undead Dragon with the Boomstick and Lightning Bolt 4,
Super.
and a Revenant King on Undead Great Flying Worm with Surge 8. 4 dragons.
And then just a bunch of unit strength.
Yep.
Yeah. The phalanx does go a long way against those flying monsters to put him in their place, but he's got a lot of them to put him in different places. So
yeah, if he gets one in the flank and one in the front, then
it's still a problem. Yeah, when you only have one, sometimes you can keep them in a place where they don't want to charge into the front because then they get stuck there. But with 4 of them, they could just be all over the place. And that kind of creates a problem for things like the Honor Guard who want to push too. Maybe they'll Honor Guard would make a mess of the zombies, but they've got to worry about flanks and stuff coming from 4 dragons. It is hard to hide a Titan from a cannon. There's that. Yeah. So 3 cannons could do work on one of those, and does that have any way to heal them?
Well, I don't want to go too far into tactics, but Brian has ways to address the cannons. I think I don't think those would be an issue.
Yeah, it's 4 dragons.
Just do 4
it's not
dragon
tactics
things.
at that.
Yeah.
It's not tactics at that point. He's playing a different game. He's playing the 4 dragon game. While we're all playing ranks and flanks. It's a filthy list. I mean, it could possibly be filthier, like of a 4 dragon list. I'm sure there's things that are naughtier, but yeah, it's nasty. And then two wraith regiments that are also flying around being jerks.
Not as fast, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's six flyers, a whole bunch of lightning bolt. On the other side we have League of Rordia, which is, I like this list. It's a cool list. It's kind of Kingdoms of Men
ish, yeah.
In disguise, but with the Honor Guard, they've changed a little since last edition. Their nerve went up, their attacks went down, but they're still, Thunderous 2, Crush 1, 18 attacks on 3s.
Still pretty hitty.
But the main thing is there's 16, 18 nerve, and Indomitable Will means on the turn they need it, they're going to be inspired 18 fearless.
Yeah.
So like on that one turn where they're taking the counter charge, they're defense 5, 18 fearless.
Yeah.
And can the old Honor Guard with the nerfs and the clash packs was couldn't take the counter punch, and I think this version can. But yeah, I don't know how to play 4 dragons and a bunch of zombies. I can't. Exactly.
Yeah, yuck.
Yeah.
Yuck. Can I just vote for who I want to win? I want Grant to win.
Yeah, that sounds
What
fair.
region is what region is he from?
It's not listed here. Actually, I don't know.
Does anyone know, Grant?
No.
Is he really good? Does he know something we don't know?
I'll tell you what. I want Grant to win too.
Sorry, Brian. I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but we're all rooting.
But your list sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Grant's got to be Midwest or Mountain?
I don't know him.
Because if he's not from the West or Pacific Northwest or Southeast
or the Northeast or the yeah.
So he's got.
Yeah. How bad would that be if he was on one of our teams?
Oh, ouch. I think he does have a lot of tools. I think if he plays this smart and he can get his units in decent positions to keep the dragons out of the flanks and stuff, and maybe use the cannons to take one out, he could do okay. So I'd like to see Grant win this one.
I'm gonna go with Brian. I think he's got it.
That's fair. All right, Britton, let's take table 21.
I'm looking at where he's from real quick.
Oh, okay.
Or at least I'm trying to.
It just influences who he plays against on the regular.
Yeah, I just don't see his name listed.
I know we have a roster. He might have been a late sign-up.
Is he a late replacement?
There were a couple people that dropped. I think there were 2 drops last minute. He could be one of those placements.
Okay. Well, like I said,
Anyway,
I'm rooting for Grant, but I think Brian will take it, but I want Grant to win, so I'll pick him.
All right, you just put it on record.
Yeah.
Moving to table 21, we've got Scott Holcomb, Kingdoms of Men versus Garrett Mercer with Trident Realms again.
Oh, cool. I get to read this one.
Yeah.
So that means I get to plug Scott's army, which is fucking awesome. It's all pirate themed. He has crazy water effects on everything. He's going to probably have a display board that is bonkers. I haven't seen it yet. But if you're in the hall, definitely take a chance to seek out Scott's army. It's really cool.
Cool.
So that being said, the army itself, he has a Fanatic Horde with the Brew of Haste. It's Kingdoms of Men. It's unit strength 26. Fanatic Horde, Brew of Haste, Foot Guard Regiment with Fire Oil and Indomitable Will. 2 more Fanatic Regiments. Someone played the formation in the last edition. A Knight Regiment with the Brew of Strength. A Knight Regiment with the Boots of Striding. Another Knight Regiment with Potion of Caterpillar. So those keeping track, that's 3 Knight Regiments. Giant Hero on Pegasus with Indomitable Will. Another Hero on Pegasus with Indomitable Will. Another Hero on Pegasus with Indomitable Will. So that's 3 of them. An Army Standard Bearer with the Loot. A Wizard on Pegasus with Bane Chant and Lightning Bolt. And a Wizard on Pegasus with Bane Chant and Lightning Bolt. And the Captain on a horse. That's what I love about Kingdoms of Men. That takes like the whole page.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Not that many units, to be honest, though, because he's got a lot of heroes in there.
And like, it's the standard like Kingdoms of Men. Like, oh, you bring knights, we bring 1 more than you do.
Sure.
So he's facing Garrett Mercier, who I think is a transplant to the mountain region from the Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
Yep. So he is bringing what should also be a cool army because I think it's all pawn themed. He has a River Guard Tree Leaper Regiment with Poison Frog upgrade. River Guard Tree Leaper Regiment with Poison Frog upgrade. River Guard Dam Buster Horde with the Brew of Sharpness. 3 Gigas Hordes, a Tidal Swarm Regiment. 3 Knuckers, a Naiad Worm Rider Centurion, and a River Guard Dam Buster Sentinel. And the Centurion has Brew of Haste. The Dam Buster Sentinel has Trickster's Wand and Ector.
I almost feel like there's something missing in that list. Is that 2,300 points? Feels really compact.
He didn't buy items, so they just don't take up much space.
Yeah, I that's true. maybe just read short on the roster here. But I don't know. Although Dam Buster Horde is the only expensive unit, the rest of them are all around that 150 to 200 point mark. So I guess you just got a bunch of those at that size.
Yeah, adds up.
Yeah.
I mean, we can like check his list. I don't know.
I hope somebody did.
I feel
the lists were supposed to be checked.
It'd be great if he's playing 2000.
Oh man, everybody's just got more models than me. What the heck? Yeah, I don't know. I really like the Kingdoms of Men list here. I think it's got a lot of like not cookie cutter, can opener tools. I love seeing giants. I think the 3 regiments of knights with kind of obligatory items to make them a little bit better is we'll probably see a lot of. And then some foot regiments to slug across. But again, Knuckers, Gigas are good.
Yeah, I'm not sure Scott has much of an answer for defense 6.
To the what?
The Knights for defense 6. If
Yeah.
he doesn't Gigas on the charge,
Yep.
he's done.
He's
Because the Knights are all that can do it.
Knights and Bane Chant, yeah.
Yeah, and if they don't get him on and then there's 3 of them.
Right. He's got 3 regiments of Knights, but there's 3 Giga Hordes, so that is tough.
Fanatics at least come with Crush 1.
Crush 1. How many attacks does that regiment have, though? Is it
20.
Oh, attack! They got
20.
They got attack.
Yeah,
20 or 25.
So it's 20 attacks with,
And then
with
you've
Bane
got-
Chant, puts up Crush 2. That's still a tough unit to get through, though, on the Gigas.
Yeah, it's like, in a way, they're both doing a lot of the same. Like, Kingdoms of Men list has 3 heroes on Pegasus. It's got another couple wizards on Pegasus, so that's a lot of mobile scoring units.
A lot, yep.
Stuff that you aren't really scared of, but if it comes in a flank or a rear, it can pitch a combat your direction. All of that kind of stuff. And then you look over at the Trident Realms list, which does all of that stuff too. 3 Knuckers, the Centurion, the Dambuster Sentinel.
Right.
The Tree Leapers are, speed 7 flyers, technically. You have the Dambuster Horde, which I have to look up because I don't fully know what they do. Yeah, they're also speed 7 fly, nimble, Strider. It's just such a maneuverable list. I don't know that it has the attacks to kill that many just dudes from the Kingdoms of Men side, because that's just a lot of dudes.
That's true. Some of those units, especially if they're charged into the front of things, don't have a ton of attacks. Like the Giga Hordes, I forget exactly what the number is, but I know it's not a high volume attack unit.
12.
But it's not as many dudes as I would expect from because he bought so many heroes and so many other stuff. You have your giant, you have 1 horde of dudes on foot, and everyone else is kicking around that middle teens nerve range. So yeah, I think here's the thing. Garrett used to play this really annoying Berenger list that was all shoot and avoid and be really tricky with movement, and now it looks like he just upgraded that to an even more annoying Trident Realm list that is all avoid, angles, nimble nonsense. So I love Scott. I love his army. I think he will do well in future rounds, but not being a homer, I'm going to pick Garrett on this one.
I'm going to go with Garrett as well.
Yeah.
I don't think Scott quite has the punch to reliably outstrike enough, and then Garrett will win the grind, I think.
Yeah, Scott might do well with some of those things in scenario, but I think Garrett's got the upper leg here as well.
And I think I don't think every army needs shooting, but when you don't really have much and you face an army that does not want to engage until it has every advantage, like this Trident Realm list, then you're gonna feel that shooting miss. Like you're gonna wish you had something that kind of forced them into conflict and speed them up.
Sure,
so.
And a couple of lightning bolts isn't going to get it done there.
Nah.
All right, well, let's move on to table 22. This is Corey Walliser. He's running Varangur with unit strength 25, and he's got some allied ogres in there. He's going to be up against Drew Richardson with goblins, unit strength 21. I think this one. Oh, thank you. I think this one's me. So Corey, he's from my region, a buddy of mine. He's got a regiment of Huskarls, regiment of mounted sons with Brew of Haste and Guise of the Deceiver. What's that upgrade do?
Stealthy, I think.
Stealthy, awesome.
That's the anti-war engine upgrade.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Another regiment of mounted sons with Caterpillar and Guise of the Deceiver. A horde of Frostfang cavalry with a Staying Stone. Regiment of Draugr. Horde of the Fallen. Lord on Frostfang with a Snow Fox. A Magus. Magnield. 2 Hunter Hordes and an Army Standard. Those last 3 are the ogres allied in. And he's going to be up against a goblin list. Again, 21 unit strength here, which is low for goblins. But,
yeah.
This list is different. So he's got a horde of sharpsticks, a horde of trolls with Blessing of the Gods, another one with Brew of Sharpness, another horde of sharpsticks. Surprised those aren't like together in the list. A regiment of sharpsticks, a regiment of mincer mob with Healing Brew, 2 mincers, a wing it with a goblin spotter, 2 giants, 2 war trombones, 2 big rock throwers, a king with Jareth's pendant, and a bang it with an inspiring talisman. Low unit strength, but he put points into giants and mincers and some other stuff instead. So that's understandable, and he's still got a little bit of shooting. Actually, I mean, 2 rock throwers, 2 war trombones. That's not, and a king.
And the wing it, the bang it.
Yeah, so that's not a small amount of shooting. It's not completely flopped that way. And then Corey's list, I mean, everything in there is going to hit hard. That's what it does.
Yeah, Mounted Sun's not as hard as they used to, but still pretty hard.
Yeah.
Where's Drew from?
Mountain.
It's Mountain.
Okay.
I like Drew's list. It's really cool.
It's got a lot of variety to it.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of stuff in there.
He hits real hard for goblins, especially with no luggage.
Yeah, I think his big issue is going to be that he doesn't have a lot of unit strength. So if somebody goes in and knocks out those sharp stick hordes, I mean, he just doesn't have a lot of stuff to put around the rest of the table.
Those sharp stick hordes are going to need money this game, though. Because look at
Corey's.
It's got a lot
mounted
of
mounted sons, Frostfang.
Right, that's true.
Lord on Frostfang, and
So this,
and if Magnilda flies, then she's also going to. So wow,
right? It's a lot of stuff to get jammed
up.
up.
Those are going to be money.
Yeah, so you stick
it's
those.
It's the special forces hunter squad that's going to have to take those out. Like climbing through the trees, like guns and arrows. Like you take them out, and then the rest of our plan unfolds.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Corey's got some things to deal with coming across too, because there is some shooting in there and some options for counterattack stuff.
Corey's army looks like a V2 army that just got retrofitted, right?
That's pretty fair. Yeah.
Mounted Sons, Mounted Funds, Dire Fangs become Frostfang.
Yep.
Fallen. Magnild. The hunters, I don't know, you play with them. Are those just like cave trolls in disguise, or are they actual like ogre hunter models coming out?
I actually don't know what he's using for those. I haven't seen the hunter hordes in action, so I don't know. I suspect he probably painted some ogres.
I really like snow trolls, so I don't know. Are the hunters one with ensnare?
Yeah, they're the ones with ensnare, Pathfinder, and
they're move 7, I think.
Cool.
A little bit faster.
And he does have a really fast army, except for a couple people. Like the Huskarls are just huffing and puffing to keep up.
Right, but everything else is going quick.
The Huskarls are what he's going to put tokens on, obviously. That's what it reads to me. He needed a unit to put tokens on. I'm going to go with Drew. I initially was leaning towards Corey because I played him and he's a good player. But I think Drew matches up really well here with all the phalanx he has and all the cavalry that Corey has. I think Drew's take.
Yeah, I mean, I play against Corey all the time, so I know what Corey's capable of. I don't know Drew. Corey's smart enough to get around some of those obstacles, I think. Although there's a considerable block there with the sharp sticks causing three things the sharp sticks causing him problems. Although I wouldn't be too scared about the regiment, but still.
Yeah, the regiment.
Yeah, I mean the regiment you can get through even with all the disadvantages.
Yeah, you kill it anyway. Yeah. What are you going for, Brenton?
I think it's going to be a pure list on list. I think there's some uphill for Corey, but I like his list more. I think a 21 unit strength goblin. I could be very wrong, but it feels like you're shopping in the expensive section of a bad army.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Yeah,
that like you're missing some of what they do really well. And again, I could, he's sitting at home right now being like, I'll show all of you. It feels like when Varangur have more unit strength than the Goblin army, and they're still bringing their hard hitting units. We have Huskarls, we have Mounted Sons, we have Frostfang, we have Fallen Lord on a Frostfang, which is like the cheap, the like walking dragon basically.
Right.
And then 2 hunter hordes, which are going to be really hard to shift for goblins. They're in snare, they do good damage,
and they're going to be coming through terrain.
So much of his stuff hits on 4s from the goblin side. The stuff that he needs to kill hunters with, that's going to be extra hard. So yeah, I'm seeing the Varangur take it.
Cool. All right, 2 for 1 there. 2 and 1. Moving on to table 23, we've got George O'Connell versus John Green.
I think that's me. So people have probably seen it because he's posted it, but here's George's filth. Goblins unit strength 25. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rabble hordes, 2 rabble regiments, 3 goblin blasters, 3 wingets, all with spotters, 3 rock throwers, 3 mop up launchers, 3 Bangets. 1 has the Inspiring Talisman, a Whiz with the Boomstick and Baneshant, and Magua and Joes. And he's playing John Green, playing Forces of the Abyss with unit strength 27. He has a Succubus regiment with that are lurkers and the Hammer of Measured Force. Another Succubus regiment lurker with Brew of Strength. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 more of those that are all lurkers.
New items.
A Hellhound regiment with Caterpillar. Another Hellhound regiment. 4 Abyssal Warlocks, all with Baneshant. A Seductress with the Vanguard boots, and 2 more Seductresses that don't have anything. What does the Lurker upgrade do?
It gives them Pathfinder.
Oh, okay.
And plus
but they come.
Do they come with stealthy?
They come with stealthy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So this is like.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't play these all the time. I know this is an absolutely filthy list from George, but on first glance, this looks like a list someone would design to fight it.
To beat it. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
So I know you guys did random pairings. I am not attacking your integrity at all. I know there was no setup on this, but good job. If someone put their thumb on the scale and moved that around, I would not have a problem with
it. Somebody paid a lot to see this matchup. I think John's army is very interesting, but it is very well suited. This is kind of what it wants to see. Something that wants to shoot it. It's going to be stealthy. Just about everything you want to be shooting there is going to be stealthy.
And the Succubus will mow through all the rabble.
Yep, exactly. They have no problem getting through that stuff. So George can throw things in front of him, but it's just going to get chewed up. Did the Lurker give them +1 speed like it did in Clash of Kings?
Nope.
No, so there's just speed 6.
Yeah. But I mean, for freaking foot regiment, speed 6 ain't bad for getting across the board.
And
with Pathfinder.
And he's got 6 of them, so they're all over the place.
With Pathfinder, so he's jamming through terrain.
Right.
And then they have Fury, so if they do get the lucky waiver, fighting back against them. I mean, they are defense 3, so but they're in snare. So
the defense 3 isn't really negative against George.
In this case, he doesn't have anything with crushing that's a problem there, so that doesn't matter. Yeah, and the 3 Baneshants. I know the Abyssal Warlocks are likely to get shot off in this case, but he's still got 3 of them. So, yeah, given what we're looking at here, I think John Green's got a really good shot at winning this.
Yeah, I think John's going to win, and somebody's going to be who lost their round 1 game is going to be very upset playing George round 2.
Yeah, seriously. When I lose to Shannon Shoemaker in round 1, and I walk up to this,
play this, yeah.
I'm just going. I'm going to best. I'm going to best of the rest. I'm just going to the other tournament.
George knows what he's doing, so he's not going to make any friends this weekend with that list.
And there's seductresses, which are 3 of those, which are speed 10. One of them has boots in the 7 leagues, so it'll be vanguarding. So if he gets that first turn, he can first turn charge
go
some
into
stuff.
a rock thrower or something, just to
yeah.
And the seductresses are quite a bit better now, so they're going to be more effective at like some of the things like Spike in a War Machine. So
yeah, or just they're duelists, so punching all those Bangets in the face as like a first thing, and then moving on. Like I said, I don't know if this will work because George's army is so filthy. But if you were to sit down and look through the book and make an army to beat up George's, this is one of the ones you would make.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So part of what I am saying is if this doesn't beat the War Machine list, God, that's even filthier than I thought, because this is purpose built to go against that.
Yeah.
So
cool. All right, that'll be a good one to watch. Maybe that'll get voted for one of these stream tables.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to table 24. Brent, you picked this one up. This is Thomas Struther versus Kyle Timberlake.
Ooh, West Coast. So Thomas Strother from the Mid Atlantic. He's playing Abyssal Dwarves. Unit strength 16. So
low compared to a lot of the other stuff we're seeing.
Yep. That's not his drop count, people. That's his unit strength. So he has an Abyssal Grotesque Horde with the Potion of the Caterpillar. He has an Abyssal Grotesque Horde with the Brew of Sharpness. He has an Abyssal Grotesque Horde with the Boots of Striding. And then an Abyssal Half-Breed Regiment with the Brew of Strength. 3 Gargoyle Troops. An Overmaster on Ancient Winged Half-Breed with the Blade of Slashing. Brocky Barca. An Abyssal Half-Breed Champion. And then, because I guess he had points left over, 3 mortars.
Why not?
3 heavy mortars.
Just throw them in there.
Clarify. Yeah, why not? And then Kyle Timberlake is playing Basilians. He has a fun, like, historical Roman-themed Basilian army. Cool. So they're all the Paladin Foot Guard are just Roman. And then he has some neat other stuff in it. I'm trying to big up people's hobby because I'm a hobby gamer. Paladin Foot Guard Regiment with the Healing Brew and Paladin Defender upgrade, which means you're going to get a couple more Paladin Foot Guard regiments to go along with it and share in its eliteness. Paladin Knight Regiment with the Boots of Striding and an Aegis Fragment. Ogre Palace Guard Horde with the, what was that?
Sorry, it's my daughter.
No problem. Ogre Palace Guard Horde with the Chalice of Wrath, and a Alohi Horde with the Brew of Strength, which is probably the right way to use one Alohi Horde. Gur Panther Troop, Alohi with the Blade of Slashing. High Paladin on Dragon with the Aegis of the Alohi. So it's rocking multiple Iron Resolve there. Samarkris, the Mother of Phoenixes, who is amazing. A War Wizard with the Conjurer's Staff and a Lightning Bolt. And Bane Chant, and another War Wizard with Boomstick, Lightning Bolt, and Bane Chant.
A lot of different stuff in there. Yeah, that's
yeah. So that's Lightning Bolt 11 plus Samarkris's Piercing Fireball to kind of bounce around and pick up stuff.
Okay.
Like gargoyles.
Like gargoyles, yeah. Although those gargoyles are probably going to be hanging back until they have to get in the way for something.
They're not even on the table. They're just in the case, and then it brings them out the last round. Like, that's fine, right?
Yeah, Thomas's list is very compact, but he does have 4 hard-hitting units coming at you, and then the Overmaster as well, 5, and then a shooting core behind it. It's a good 1-2 punch, but it is low on unit strength for sure. Whereas, yeah, I don't know.
I think this one's going to come down to whether the mortars go off.
Yeah,
I'm not sure Kyle has a way to address the mortars really easily, and if the mortars have a turn where they just
take stuff off, yeah,
take everything off, then all of a sudden the unit strength is evened out, and that if they don't go off, I can't see him beating Kyle.
There are 1, 2, 3, four flyers?
Oh,
4
yeah,
flyers on a
1, 2,
3. The Elohi aren't nimble though.
Yeah, but if you're pointed at a war machine,
yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying, like,
my 310 point unit at a war machine. I don't know. The Elohi I get, and Samarkris can maybe go.
I'm not going into what he should or shouldn't use. I'm just saying there are things that fly on his side of the table.
That's true.
You know, he doesn't have a ton of shooting. He has a little shooting, but he does have flyers. Yeah, I mean, it's hard because, like, grotesque horde.
They're gross. Yeah.
If they hit the right stuff, they just blow it up, and half your army's gone, and you're like, great. Now what do I counterattack with?
Right, and his list is covered with regen too.
Yeah, and you know the Basilians are resilient. They have a lot of small sources of like healing brew. You know, they have Samarkris flying around healing every one of these small units for 1.
Right.
you have a lot of this little stuff kind of kicking around that helps them out. But when you're just deleted,
It
like
doesn't.
you have no
Yeah,
chance
it
to
doesn't
heal.
matter. So anything, two of those grotesque hordes coming at something is going to delete anything he has, and then the counter charge options aren't as good because you don't have them set up. So one thing charging into the grotesque doesn't take it off. It regens. It keeps fighting. It's not a great place to be. And I wouldn't discount the fact that if those Anchor heavy mortars go off and even delete things like the Paladin Foot Guard regiments, where they have a pretty good shot at doing enough damage to kill it, that's a big deal to lose some of that unit strength and those infantry right off the get-go.
Yeah.
So I say I would put my trust here in some of those heavy mortars doing work, and then the grotesques kind of cleaning things up. And the
I'm gonna roll.
overmasters cause problems too.
I'm gonna roll with Kyle here, because chances are I don't think. I mean, numbers wise, the mortars don't go off. I know they could, but if you're looking at it and the mortars roll average, then Kyle wins. So I'm gonna roll with Kyle.
The other thing to think about with the mortars too is it really depends on what the tables look like terrain wise, and whether you're gonna get how many clean shots are you gonna get, and what units they're up against. That can make a big difference.
Yep. I'm gonna go for Kyle. This is a homer vote. I can see it going both ways. I can see scenarios where Thomas just rolls over him and Kyle's fighting with half his army on turn 3. And I can see the other way where Thomas gets stuck in kind of in a quagmire, opens up angles, stuff happens, and his army just loses all its momentum and is dead. So if I can't decide, I'm going to go with Kyle, especially because he's a little more flexible on the scenario, having higher unit strength. And what I do know is Kyle is an incredibly quick player. This Abyssal Dwarf list looks like it plays incredibly
Probably
fast.
pretty quick too. Yeah.
So win, lose, or draw, I expect them to both be drinking at about 35 minutes into the round. So
nice. All right, let's jump on to table 25. We've got Mike Sotomayor with Undead versus Ryan Munsell with is it Munsell?
Yeah.
Ryan Munsell with Northern Alliance.
Yes.
So why don't you? I mean, this is your list. Why don't you go ahead and do it?
Okay. I'll go and start with Mike since he's first. He's on the left side, so he's playing Undead. Unit strength 23. He has a Revenant Horde with Brew of Strength and Undead Rats. He has another Revenant Horde with Undead Rats, a Wraith Regiment, a Revenant Cavalry Regiment with Caterpillar, a Zombie Troll Horde with extra Life Leech.
Life Leech, yep.
A Mummy Regiment, Wraith Troop, Goreblight, a Vampire and a Pegasus, a Revenant King on a horse with Surge 5, a Lich King with Shroud of the Saint, Heal 6, and a Morgoth. I am playing Northern Alliance at unit strength 20. I have a Frostfang Horde with Need of Madness, an Ice Elemental Horde, a Snow Troll Horde with Fury, a Thunderwolf Regiment, a Lord on Chimera, a Tavern Dweller, 2 Snow Fox Regiments, an Ice Queen with Heal 5 and Surge 8, and a Thane with Inspiring Talisman and Talinar Standard, which gives Rally 1. And then Nature Allies are an Earth Elemental Horde and a Tree Herder.
Okay, you've got a lot of hard hitters in your list, Ryan.
Yeah.
It's pretty fighty. Morgoth is gross. I mean, he causes problems for everybody. Goreblight, Mummy Regiment, and Mike's just got a lot of stuff.
I played Mike 2 years ago in Chicago, so I know he's a good player.
Yeah, he's been doing those 2 hordes of revenants has been doing work for him. I think it's kind of backed up by the Lich King and then Morgoth causing problems. That's a nice solid center, but you do have the units to get in there and make a wreck of those.
Yeah, so what's Mike's home region?
Mid-Atlantic.
Has he been playing Undead for a while, or because I think he did Elves for a bit of 2019.
I think he's been playing Undead since last year.
Okay. Because this army, what's interesting about this army is it's either incredibly tuned to exactly what he needs in each situation, or he just went down the list and picked random things. Because it's like there's like a Revenant Horde, and then a Wraith Regiment, and a Cav Regiment, and one Zombie Troll Horde, one Mummy Regiment, one Wraith Troop. It's like
right. It's a little.
There's no redundancy.
Yeah, but all of those things are good and effective in their own right.
I mean, it's the undead list. You could throw darts at it and make a good army.
Yeah, exactly.
In V3, he has Morgoth. Sadly, this is something we forgot to mention, and another reason I voted against Brian Tucker's list. He broke the Morgoth streak. We would have had
every
we would have had 7 undead armies with 7 Morgoths, and he instead brought 4 dragons and couldn't fit Morgoth in. So
I guess that means Morgoth isn't broken and shouldn't be comped because it's not good enough for Brian to take him.
Yeah. Not every single undead list took him.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, Ryan, I think you have some of the elements you need to get through what's in Mike's list in terms of these tough things that are going to be anvils. Because you've got the crushing strength, so that you shouldn't be too scared of that. But Mike has a lot of other things that you've got to be thinking about at the same time.
Yeah, I think if I'm looking at it, I don't think he has a lot of answers for defense. There are elementals in the tree herder. I think, in my mind right now, I'm going to rely pretty heavily
on those pinning something in place.
Yeah.
Well, the Gorblight's crushing 2, right?
Yeah. I think maybe crush 3.
I think it's only 2. I think he's like a mini giant kind of. And then so he's going to have crushing 2 in a couple of places. Actually, just 2. Yeah, 3.
And no Bane Chant.
And no Bane Chant. Yeah.
Or is Morgoth Bane Chant?
You know what?
I think Morgoth has.
Everybody's using Drain Life on him, so I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So if he's Bane Chanting, he's not Drain Life.
Yeah, he's not doing what he's supposed to. Yeah,
dude, I was gonna say if he bought a 230 point guy with a loot, you're winning.
Right.
If all he's doing is running around Bane Chant and stuff,
right.
Have fun.
Yeah, so I think you're right there. Those things are going to be pretty good at pinning something, and then you just got to get your other units into fight. And you have to kill stuff. That's always the problem with undead is killing it. He's got heal 9 on that Lich King. Yuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta kill it. I gotta kill what I hit, which is what I made the list to do. So.
Yep. Well, I think this would be a good match. Actually, it should be interesting to see how this one plays out. I'm gonna go with Ryan because I'm sitting here talking to him right now.
Once again, list on list, if I walked up to this table blind, I would rather have Ryan's army, which means if you lose, it's your fault.
Totally on you, bro.
Yeah, no pressure. I mean, I think they're both good lists. I think it's really hard to make a bad undead list, and this one's cool. It's got a little everything, and yeah, Morgoth and a Lich King with Shroud is just so much wound removal, so much damage removal that
you better kill
something in that army in that game is going to make you pull some of your hair out. There's going to be some unit that you swear should have died 3 times and is sitting at the end of the game with 0 wounds, and you hate it. But I think you got this.
And a bad Snake Eyes against him would be horrendous, but
yeah. And once again, Morgoth again, not broken because Brian didn't take him,
so not good enough. No, cool. All right, Ryan, you got this one. Cool. Going on to table 26, we've got Alex Chavez versus Travis Tim. I'll take this one since I skipped last time. Alex is running Free Dwarves with unit strength 23, and Travis is running Goblins with unit strength 24. It's pretty close there. Alex has got 2 regiments of Free Dwarf Shield Breakers, a regiment of Brock Riders with Caterpillar Potion, 3 hordes of Earth Elementals, 2 troops of Free Dwarf Brock Riders, 2 Dwarf Lords on Large Beast, Sverri Egalax on Hellbrock, I don't actually know what he does. A free dwarf lord with Wings of the Honey Maze and the Lord's Jewel, and a free dwarf stone priest with Martyr's Prayer. And then he's going to be up against the goblins with a rabble horde with a warbow, a rabble horde with a staying stone, 4 rabble hordes with nothing on them, mincer mob regiment, a mincer, 3 wingets, 3 war trombones, 3 maw pup launchers, 3 bangets, 1 with inspiring talisman, 2 whizzes, 1 with a boomstick, and magua and Joes. Yeah. Man, he's got a lot of redundancy in that goblin army, huh? And actually, Alex does too. He's kind of doubled down on most of his choices.
No rock throwers.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah. No. Copy paste error.
Yeah. So what is that thing? The Sverry Egerlax on Hellbrock? What does he do?
I think he's a KoW character.
Let me school you all on this. He's large KoW. Yep.
So is he going to be like the dwarf on Large Beast, but not quite?
Better.
No, I think he's
10 attacks. This is the super berserker.
Okay.
So 10 attacks, dash 18 nerve, defense 4. He has an aura of wild charge +1. Berserker's only crush 1, thunderous 1, vicious. So he's a little buzzsaw.
Okay. That's good.
But it does mean that he is sporting 2 of the dwarf lords on Large Beast and Sperry. So that's 3, 50 by 50 large KoW characters that can hit and stick around, because dash 18 nerve, self-inspiring is pretty strong.
Is Sperry on a 50 or is Sperry on a KoW base?
Large KoW.
Large KoW. Oh wow. So so 20 attacks.
Yeah. So if he ever gets around anyone, and he's move 8, so he's decent.
Yeah.
He's doing work.
He'd make a mess of things, sure.
But he's giving the wild charge to the Berserker Brox if they need it. And then the Dwarf Lord with Wings of the Honey Maze and Lord's Jewel has an Iron Resolve aura.
That's pretty good.
So he's giving the Shield Breakers or some of the other stuff kicking around because it's just work. So like
right, unless he has to go punch something, he's sitting behind the lines and
or that wing is there to give the Iron Resolve to the part of the battle line that needs it, because so I'm pretty sure the Brock Riders still have the dwarf keyword, so he can give it to them or fly back and give it to someone else or punch something in the face.
Interesting. So. Okay. And what we're looking at the other side is a very similar amount of unit strength, actually, and some shooting.
Yeah, no high piercing shooting though.
No, that's what I feel like he's gonna get stuck on. I mean, those Earth Elemental hordes are gonna be a problem to get through, and I
kind of missing some big rock throwers.
Yeah, and I know like. Alex is very particular about placing stuff. He's not going to be giving up easy moves anywhere.
And the Dwarf Lords are defense 6 too on the beasts.
Oh, it's a lot of defense 6. Ouch. That's tough. I mean,
although the wingets and the bangit, that's a lot of them. Man, those wingets, there's mobile shooting there. So he may be able to pick up the Brocks and stuff, but I don't see a way for that he's going to move those elemental hordes.
Although if he picks up the Brocks,
that's 8 units with defense 6.
Yeah,
for the record.
But he does have 6 hordes of rabble to play with here. That is a lot of stuff to get in the way, and things like the Earth Elemental hordes don't chew through those particularly quickly. So if he wants to jam up a part of the table, he can do that pretty effectively. I don't know. I'd probably take Alex's list here just because I think the goblins are going to have trouble really doing anything to the dwarf list.
Yeah, I mean, like, great. Everyone, like, jams up and nothing really gets through to each other, but I just don't see those dwarfs dying.
Right, exactly.
And they have this stone priest with Martyr's Prayer, that little annoying jerk in the back that's keeping any wounds that do get through on this defense 6. The Martyr's Prayer is so valuable on defense 6 because every one of those wounds
you paid for it. You really paid for it.
every point of damage you worked so hard to get on them, and then just watching them go away and get stacked on this little punk in the back line.
There are other lists where
it's a horrible feeling.
Travis will probably do fine with some of that shooting. That's going to be okay taking units off, and then he's got a bunch of hordes to block the table up and keep things off objectives and whatnot. But this in particular is, I think, a tough match for him.
Yeah, I think again there's going to be somebody upset round 2 who gets to play the loser of this game.
Ooh, maybe he can play George.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
and then so somebody round 3 can get one of those lists. Yeah, that sounds great. After losing 2 games, super. I'll see if I can orchestrate that. All right, moving on. Table 27. We've got Jacob Data. I'll go with Data versus Mike Grant. Jacob's got Salamanders, and Mike is running Forces of the Abyss. Brent, you want to jump in on this one?
Yeah, why not? I think by random I keep getting West Coast people, which is fun.
Oh, there we go.
So Jacob Data, he's playing Salamanders, unit strength at 21. He has the Salamanders Ceremonial Guard Horde with the Chant of Hate and Effigy of Fire. Another Ceremonial Guard Horde with Brew of Strength and Effigy of Fire. Tyrant Horde with the Brew of Sharpness and Effigy of Fire. I'm going to have to look up that Effigy of Fire.
Yeah, seriously, we got to know what that does.
Because it's on everything.
It's reroll D3 fail to wound.
Oh, it's
one use
it's
only.
like the Crocodogs.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nice. Which my army had that. Tyrant Horde with the Boots of Striding and the Effigy of Fire. Kaisnor Lancer Regiment with the Potion of the Caterpillar. 2 Lacheladons, 1 Phoenix, Clan Lord on Fire Drake with Blessing of the Gods, which is a cute little item because it works on his rather handsome shooting as well as the fighting. And then Clan Lord with Pipes of Terror, Effigy of Fire, I think on a Raptor, and then a Herald with the Loot of Insatiable Darkness. And then we move over to Mike Grant. So he is playing Forces of the Abyss. He's a West Coast player, went to Masters last year. He has a unit strength of 28. Succubus Regiment with Brew of Strength and the Lurker upgrade. So that's Pathfinder. Mm-hmm. Succubus Regiment, Hammer of Measured Force, Lurker upgrade. Abyssal Ghoul Horde with Liana's Tear. Abyssal Horseman Regiment with the Potion of the Caterpillar. So that's a few Pathfinder units already.
Yeah, he's stacking them up.
Yeah. Abyssal Horseman Regiment with the Brew of Sharpness. Again, cashing in on that regiment, cheaper sharpness.
Yep.
4 or 3 Abyssal Ghoul Regiments.
Just bodies.
Bodies, objectives. Gargoyle Troop with Blade of Slashing. Gargoyle Troop with Mace of Crushing. An Abyssal Fiend, an Abyssal Warlock with a Conjurer's Staff and Bane Chant. 2 more Abyssal Warlocks and a Manifestation of Baal. So just lurking at the end there is like, and a big demon.
Interesting place for Blade of Slashing and Mace of Crushing on Gargoyles.
Yeah.
I think he just didn't have other places to put them.
Yeah, I mean, like, everything else has got an item, basically. Like, are you putting it on the Warlock?
Right. Yeah.
But the other side of me is like, I look at that and I'm like, oh, maybe that'll be the clutch thing that breaks the other chaff unit and wins them the chaff war. And then there's part of me that's like, oh, it's cute. You think your Gargoyle is going to fight. But
I don't have a lot of experience playing against Salamanders. I know those Tyrant Hordes make a mess of things. And Lechlidons seem pretty good. But I do play a lot of Abyss. And I like what he's got with some of these units here. I don't know. I think Abyssal Horsemen are great in this edition. And
those Ceremonial Guard hordes, though, those are the Horsemen don't want to fight that.
What is the deal with the Ceremonial Guard Horde? Is that like what used to be
they're Phalanx.
Phalanx.
They're spearmen.
Attack. 4 is the first one in Phalanx, and then one has Strength, so 30 attacks with Crush 2.
That's a problem.
And they're 21-23 nerve, defense 5.
Okay.
And yeah, but like, it's annoying. It's a puzzle for him to solve. But like, they are good enough that it's just like, well, he's not going to fight those with Abyssal Horsemen.
Right. That's
like,
not gonna, yeah.
It's like when you have a
Horses are
battle
big.
line of a bunch of defense 6 and a bunch of defense 4, and you're like, oh, what do I shoot? Like, not the defense 6.
Yeah.
So like, don't charge those. But
Yeah, I've played quite a bit of salamanders, and with 2 tyrant hordes, man, they hit hard. But their defense 4 and only a 17.
That's pretty easy to get rid of.
Yeah, they're fearless, but so you got to kill them.
Yeah, but
I
I'm
don't know.
not. I mean, I wouldn't be too fair putting succubi regiments in front of them though. That's a. What's the speed on the tyrants? They're slow,
6
right?
with wild charge, 6 foot wild charge D3.
Okay.
So
that
they're
helps.
pretty fast.
Yeah. I don't know.
This is close.
I think this could be really close. I think actually maybe the Salamander army has a little bit of a leg up because they've got what the Abyssal has in kind of some stuff for board control, like the gargoyles and the ghoul regiments to just kind of sit on things. The Salamander stuff, it actually does things like the Lechalodons. Still a scoring unit, but it actually can shoot too. I don't know.
Yep. The Kilodons are fantastic.
Yeah, they're great.
They were great last edition, and they got cheaper this edition and pretty much stayed the same.
So that feels like maybe that's like a more effective use of those 85 or 90 points, and still has the fighty units as well.
Yeah, I like Jacob's list.
where's Jacob from?
Southeast. I think he's one of the Florida guys.
Well, I'm a fan of the Force of the Abyss as an army, but I think the Salamanders are going to take this one.
Yeah, I like Mike, but I think he's got an uphill battle here. I don't know Jacob, so I don't know if he's experienced playing Salamanders or not, but
Right.
I look at that list, and
Yeah.
I've played Salamanders a lot, and I would not mind coming up against that Abyss list. So taking player skill out of it, I'm taking Jacob.
Cool. All right, Mike, you got
So
working out for you.
what we talked about with the earlier with God, I want to say it was John Green's Abyssal list that had the succubus regiments.
Yeah, that was all the right,
where we
6
were.
regiments.
Yeah, we were sort of saying, oh, they're low defense, but it doesn't matter because there was nothing in the goblin list that care. It either had super high crushing or nothing. There is stuff in this list. There is the Lechalodon. There is the Clan Lord on Fire Drake just flying around breathing on things before it engages. There is a little bit here
3 does become a problem. You mean?
Yeah.
But he's also only invested in 2 regiments of those, so it's not like his whole army is made up of it like John's. So
yeah, but I feel like maybe I'm reading it wrong, but I feel like he's got his Abyssal Ghoul regiments, which you don't care about, and then you have Gargoyle troops, which are enablers, and then a lot of the every one of his first 4 or 5 units, it needs to do something. Like it needs to do its job, and the rest of the list there is to make them do their job. So if that gets disrupted, it looks uphill for Mike.
I think one thing we're overlooking a little bit too, though, is he does have an Abyssal Fiend and the Manifestation of Baal. So those are 2 hitty monsters coming at you. Let's not discount that as hard hitters that could take out a Tyrant Horde pretty easily.
Yeah, and that's it's part of the way just this list is formatted that I keep reading this list and forgetting there's a 265 point.
Yeah, I mean, I always put my Archfiends right at the top. That's where I want them, front center.
So, I think it's just the way this comes out.
Sure.
Mike's a solid player. I don't know Jacob, but blind list on list, I would rather walk up to the table and pilot the Salamander list, I think, than that Abyssal list.
Fair.
So.
All right. There you go. Moving on to table 28. We've got Kyle Peach, probably pronounced Peach, versus Tony Rogers. Kyle's got some Trident Realms, 23 unit strength, and Tony has Abyssal Dwarves with 16 unit strength. Man, that's the second Abyssal Dwarf list we came up with 16 unit strength, and those are the lowest unit strength lists we've seen so far on this side of the matchup cast at least.
I think I'm up.
Okay.
So Kyle's got Placater Regiment with Healing Brew. 1, 2, 3 Depth Horror Hordes. 2 Water Elemental Hordes. 1 Tidal Swarm Regiment. 2 Knuckers. A Kraken. A Trident King. A Thole Aquamage with Loot and Surge 8. Rising Tides. And then Ector. Rising Tides. Not sure what that does. Find out later. Abyssal Dwarves. He's got an Abyssal Half-Breed Regiment with Caterpillar. A Lesser Obsidian Golem Horde with Charnox. Another Lesser Obsidian Golem Horde with Charnox and Blade of Slashing. A Abyssal Grotesque Horde with Blessing of the Gods. Gargoyle Troop. A Mutated Mastiff Hunting Pack Regiment. A Throwing Mastiff. Another one of those. A Hellfane, that's a Hellforged Overmaster. 2 Katsukin rocket launchers. A Hexcaster with Conjure Staff, weakness 3. An Ironcaster with Shroud of the Saint, Surge 8. An Ironcaster with Tome of Darkness and Surge 8. And an Abyssal Half-Breed Champion with Mournful Blade.
Tome of Darkness is the one that boosts the Surge?
Yes.
So that's Surge 11?
12.
12? But before? Yeah.
12.
And for the record, Rising Tides gives a Wild Charge 1 aura.
Oh.
For what?
That's cool.
It's not everything, though. I think it's just waterbound.
It gives it... No, it just says aura Wild Charge.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
It's inspiring waterbound only. And you can only give Rising Tide to one thing. It's like one of those Living Legend upgrades. So you can't just keep stacking up +1 Wild Charge.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, this Abyssal Dwarf list is very different than the last one we saw. It's got a lot more stuff in it.
It's 14 drops and 16 unit strength.
Yeah, that is interesting to note.
I was really hoping that it would have as many drops as it had unit strength, but Tony didn't quite get there. So
I think outside of the Lesser Obsidian Golem Hordes, Kyle doesn't mind anything over there. There's not a ton of shooting.
A little bit, but
Those
not a ton.
depth
Yep.
dogs throwing dogs.
Dogs, the rocket launchers. Hellfane's good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got some chaff and a couple of fighty units. Huh.
I think I'm leaning towards Kyle on this one. Yeah.
Tidal Swarm Regiment, Knucker, crap.
He outfights in combat. He has all that ensnare.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
don't think Tony has the combat to chew through it.
I don't think either of them do.
Yeah.
I think it's a big slap fight.
Yeah.
It's a pool noodle fight. It's not even a grind. It's just
Well,
like
although Knuckers and Trident King can get in flanks.
sure. And then they get surged.
And then they get
surged into from
some
weird direction.
Right.
Like
that's the problem with that.
Yep.
And he's got Surge 20.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Surge in 3rd edition.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a tough one.
Yeah,
like the Hellfane is defense 6 as well. Like weirdly, I think those rocket launchers are going to be shooting for the entire game as everyone just sits there in the middle and slap fights. I mean, there are grotesques. Yay, those could beat up something.
Just one though. It's
Yeah. I think this is a slap fight, but Kyle's
grotesque hit on 4, so the ensnare
is a problem.
No one's gonna kill anything.
Right.
No. I think this is a slap fight.
We got weakness. We got a Hexcaster with weakness.
I think
even
I would
that
probably go
Kraken's
with the
gonna be
Trident
down
problems on this. Because if it does come down to a slap fest, I think I'd rather see the unit with ensnare just completely roadblocking things that hit on 5s.
And although Tony has heal and Kyle does not.
What is the natural heal on an Ironcaster before the Shroud? 3? It's low, right?
Yeah.
So he's got a total of heal 9, maybe. It's not.
Yeah, Iron Caster is heal 3.
Yeah, I think I'm rock with Kyle on this one.
Yeah, Kyle. I'd go with Kyle. What do you think, Brandon?
Did I already ask where Kyle's from?
You know, I don't know where he's from, so you might have, but
He's
I
from,
still don't
Midwest.
have an answer.
He's Midwest.
If you haven't noticed, that's my stalling question while I'm trying to think about something. And then I hope you say some region that's like either really good or not as good, and I can base it off that. But that's I don't want to say who that is because that'd be unfair. But it's sort of like, yeah, they're both weird armies. Like I like part of the Trident Realm list, and then I don't like other parts of it. It's a very, very skill heavy, like the Depth Horror Hordes and Knuckers, Kraken, Trident King.
Yeah, but the threshold for skill, we're at Masters. You should assume people know how to use these armies. You're not going to get newbies playing them.
Yep. And then there's new edition. Some people might be bringing new armies, but that didn't actually happen as much as I thought it would.
Sure.
A lot of people are just bringing the old models out and calling them a new army.
Yeah. Take what you got.
So, Tony's a West Coast guy, so I want to vote for him, but I don't like either of these armies too much personally. So I'm gonna do the homer call and go with Tony.
There, that's fair. All right, I'm not keeping track of these, by the way, so somebody's gonna have to total it up later and see how we did.
Oh yeah, then I win.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the TO, so I'll just switch the
Obviously.
scores so that my results were right. You know, that's how that works.
that's the better way to do it.
Yeah.
Is actually ruin people's first rounds in order to be right with your pick.
Hey, things that matter, right? All right, moving on. Table 29, we've got Dustin Howard versus Mike Adkins. I think I'm up for this one. Dustin's got Forces of Nature, 17 unit strength. He's got 2 hordes of fire elementals, 2 hordes of worm riders, one with Blood of the Old King, one with Brew of Strength, 3 greater earth elementals, those are not hordes, a Pegasus, a tree herder, 2 druids, one with Conjurer's Staff and Surge, the other with Shroud of the Saint and Surge, and then a unicorn with wings. That's pretty compact, 17 unit strength, not a lot of drops. I didn't count them, but it doesn't seem like very many. And then Mike, on the other hand, has Undead with 19 unit strength, also pretty low. He's got a Soul Reaver Cavalry Regiment with Dwarven Ale, 2 hordes of zombie trolls, 2 zombie regiments. Whoa,
Sorry,
something just fell over. He's got 2 tubes of wraiths, a white horde with the Boots of Striding, a Gore Blight, 3 Balefire catapults, a Vampire Lord on an undead horse, a Necromancer with Inspiring Talisman, Vicious Aura, Heal 3, and, of course, Morgoth. So,
Dustin's list is really weird.
Yeah, it is. 3 greater earth elementals is interesting.
And a herder.
And a herder. That's a lot of defense 6. And then the Worm Rider hordes and the Fire Elemental hordes hit. Well, the Worm Riders probably hit better because they're faster, to be honest. But the Fire Elementals do hit decently hard.
We have the worm.
A couple of Druids with Surge. Yeah, that is very interesting.
And the unicorn just has heal 5. So he has 0 shooting.
None.
And Mike doesn't.
No,
have...
he just.
Oh no, Mike.
He just throws units at you.
Yeah.
But then Mike has the Balefire catapults, but I don't know if that's going to do a ton against this list, because he's got a little bit of heal on the backside. They're only piercing 2. They're not great against the defense 6 stuff. So if he's going into fire elementals, best case maybe. Soul Reaver Cavalry don't hit as hard as they used to.
Nope.
Zombie trolls. The whites are good. Huh.
So, has Dustin played Forces of Nature before? much? Do we know?
I
Because I remember he had Orcs, Abyssal Dwarves, Trident Realms, Empire of Dust. He's done a lot of different stuff. I don't know if he was a Forces of Nature player from like way back. If he was, then everything I'm about to say is bullshit. But if he wasn't, then I'm gonna go on a little rant. Very small, but so this Masters, because it was a new edition, I sort of expected there to be this meta where people kind of popped up with new armies out of nowhere that they had kind of workshopped together in their little crew and came out of nowhere with this like sort of nasty new things people hadn't noticed yet. And I haven't seen too much of that. Like a whole bunch of the meta decided that undead were good, and Morgoth is good, which was not a very well kept secret.
Right. No surprise
a whole bunch of the meta decided that Night Stalkers are good, which again didn't feel like a secret. And then there's been a couple armies that have kind of come out of nowhere, and you're like, oh. And then like there was the whole War Machine build thing. And there's been only a much smaller number than I expected, sort of coming out of this that feel out of left field and kind of workshopped, and I don't fully understand, but I think are going to be really good. And this is one of them. Like I'm looking at an extremely compact, pretty hard hitting, Pathfinder filled. You know, he has just enough surge to do the tiny shenanigans. Nothing of this is going to like surge across the table, but it's just those weird like turn and flank something.
Yeah, gotcha. Gotcha flank, right.
Little bit of heal, and this can deploy in like a 12-inch by 12-inch box basically, and just ruin people's days. There's like no chaff, but like there's no entrance to this. Like I don't know. It just seems really tough. It seems really tough, really compact, and we know he is sort of an expert at playing those types of armies. So I like it a lot. It's really simple. It's just like you read it straight out. It's straightforward, but I think it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love Worm Riders, but I get strength. I like the strength. Blood of the Old King. I guess they're a good unit for it because they have regen 4.
Right. So maybe he's just going hunting with those, and then he keeps all the rest of the stuff packed up in a corner.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's really tough. And I know Mike's a good player too. I played him last year. I think we had a draw in the final round, and it was a super close,
I mean that
awesome game.
That Blood of the Old King is just because you throw them into something,
right?
Let them hurt themselves to get the kill, and then they're fine. They just walk it off, rub some dirt on it, and keep slithering around. So, if you can put that on a combat unit with good regen, like that's a perfect little spot for it.
Great value for it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Mike on the other side has kind of a lot of tools, but I don't see how he's going to break through some of those lines. Morgoth is a 9, annoying. I don't see the catapults really taking units off in this case. The Gore Blight is only crushing 2. That's a tough place to be. I don't know. I just don't know where the damage is going to come from. Zombie Trolls are crushed 2, but they hit on 4s. So 4s and 4s on a defense 6 unit. That's not super.
And Dustin's got a lot of heal too.
Yeah, and having played a lot of things that hit on 4s and 4s is not a good feeling.
It's not. You're going with 18 attacks. You're like, I did 4 damage. Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted.
Lots of his stuff's on 4s too. The 3 graders and the 2 fire elemental hordes. They all hit on 4s as well.
Yeah. But who wins that grind?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah,
I think Dustin wins the grind there. So I think this is a tough match for Mike. Mike will probably do fine in some other cases where he's not up against this wall of defense 6, because he does have plenty of stuff with crushing 2, which is great in other cases.
The one thing I will say.
Go ahead.
The one little shout out I will give is I haven't seen all of these units. I've only seen this online, but Mike Adkins Undead, what I have seen online on Dash 28 are really, really inspiring from a hobbying standpoint. It tells a great story. They're super moody. They look like it's awesome model selection. It's just like it's one of those. After seeing tons and tons of undead armies that are just sort of recycled GW vampire counts armies, seeing a sort of new made for Kings of War shopping in all the different model ranges to make
something.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool looking army, and I encourage people to check it out while they're there.
Cool.
So.
Awesome. All right. Moving on to
tables. But you're gonna lose, Mike.
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah.
Your army looks nice, but you're gonna lose. Moving on to table
enjoy
30.
Enjoy playing George O'Connell in the second round.
We've got Josh Rosato with Ratkin and versus Brian Cessna versus Ogres. Ryan, I think we're back to you.
Okay. Josh, 3 warrior regiments, a tunnel runner regiment with Caterpillar, another tunnel runner regiment, a little tongue twister there, a shock troop horde with sharpness and plague pots, another shock troop horde with strength and plague pots, 3 claw shot troops, brood mother with the loot, a night terror, mother Kryza with Veil of Shadows, 2 weapon teams, and a war chief with wings. And Brian, he has, as we said, ogres. He has a warrior horde. He has 3 siegebreaker hordes, 2 red goblin rabble hordes, 2 shooter hordes, a red goblin scout troop, a warlock with inspiring talisman and drain life 5, another warlock with drain life 5, an army standard, and in Grakagamok.
Josh is from my region, and I know he has been deliberating down to the very moment of submission back and forth between lists here. I think the one.
Did he pick the good one?
I mean, debatable. I think what he's got is pretty good. It's pretty versatile. Some long range shooting, some short range shooting, some unit strength objectives, some fighting units. It's a pretty good mix of stuff.
Sorry, my kids are being loud.
It's okay. I got mine off to bed. Thankfully, I'm sure you heard them earlier.
Yeah.
Brian's list again is like one of these super compact lists. 3 siegebreaker hordes and a warrior horde sitting next to each other. That's a lot. Shooters. I don't know. He's got the plague pots and the shock troop hordes, which is really the best target, and then line of sight for shooter hordes has always been the biggest issue for them, I think.
Yeah.
Is getting good targets, especially because there's other ogre units typically in the way, is the problem. So you either have to leave them off on their own or really, really keep a lane open for them to shoot through.
How tall are ogres? Height 3?
3.
Yeah, 3.
Okay. Is anything above height 3 on the
Is a
tunnel runner? I think tunnel runners.
Tunnel runners are only 3. No, they're 3.
About the night terror.
The tunnel runners are 3. The night terror. What is the night terror?
Yeah. Because if that's the case, then the line of sight is a real problem here.
Yeah, the night terror is a height 3 too.
Yeah, so that's a problem. Line of sight is an absolute problem for those shooter hordes.
Pretty much his whole army is the height of an ogre.
Right.
So
that's tough. That's a tough place to be. I mean, 3 siegebreaker hordes is tough to say no to. They're tough to get through and they hit really hard, but Josh has got some of those other things to deal with it too. I think the claw shots are easy. They're going to get targets easier than the shooter hordes will, even if they're shooting through cover.
So our local ogre player left. He moved to the Pacific Northwest and stopped playing Kings of War regularly. Not because of the Pacific Northwest. It's not
because they're terrible people there.
So I haven't actually played against ogres in a while. Haven't played any V3 games against ogres.
I
have not yet listened to the full Countercharge episode ogre review yet. Sorry, Robin, Jeremy, and folks. So I'd like to draft in a little help. I don't know if anyone can see this, but I painted an ogre recently.
Oh,
to put on my my war wagon. I'm calling him Little Jesse. He doesn't have a weapon. He's just shouting a lot, so he's not very dangerous, but just talks a lot.
He's real loud though.
Yeah, that's why I called him Little Jesse. Not very dangerous, but talks a lot. And he's telling me this is not a very good ogre list because he doesn't like seeing shooter hordes. They don't smash things. He needs more things that smash things. So I'm going with the Ratkin. I think they have a lot of good tools, a lot of ways to open up damage before they ever engage.
Absolutely. Yeah,
the
totally agree.
Siege breakers are going to be really hard to deal with. I just think they're going to be the only thing really left to deal with, and he'll get something around them and take them down.
Right.
So.
Right. I'm with you there.
Yeah, I love you, Brian, but Josh is a good player, and this is going to be your welcome to Masters moment.
Is this
welcome?
Is this
Masters.
one of your?
No easy games.
Is this one of your players?
Yeah, it's his first Masters. Brian? Yeah, it is. Yep.
Wow. I was going to ask you, is he really, really good? But since you already picked Josh, I think you...
I've not played against Brian.
He's not that good. No.
Oh, okay.
I've not played him.
Okay.
He's from Portland.
So I know Josh plays probably more Kings of War than anybody I know. That guy just absolutely bangs practice games like you can't believe. So he's gonna know how to use this list.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I picked Josh's list, so
there you go. All right, table 31. We're moving on to Brindley Smith with his Varinger coming out of Canada, unit strength 24 versus Mark Cox Ratkin, unit strength 25. Brenton, I believe this one's yours.
Sure. So yeah, we got Brindley is playing Varinger with an ally of Undead. So he's got a Draugr Horde, a Huskarl Regiment with Brew of Sharpness. Again, taking the sort of regiment bonus for that actually is a nice little, I don't know, I haven't looked really into it, but that's a nice little bit of tech where you give it to the Huskarls that only come at the regiment size but still have tons of good attacks.
It's really good.
Huskarl Regiment with a Chant of Hate, Mounted Sons of Corrigan with Blessing of the Gods, and Brand of the Warrior. Mounted Sons of Corrigan with the boots, J-Boots, and the Guise of the Deceiver. So those are the ones that he's going to be running through terrain at shooting.
Yep.
Frostfang Cavalry Horde with Brew of Haste to speed them up that little bit. Snowfox Regiment to be annoying. Lord on a Frostfang with Blade of Slashing and Snowfox. A Lord with Wings of Honeymaze and a Snowfox. And Magnilda of the Fallen. And then his little tiny allied is a Zombie Regiment and 2 Rev Cav troops. So the Rev Cav troops are incredibly annoying for anyone that's ever had to play Undead.
Fearless, they don't really hit that hard, but they're just annoying enough to get rid of.
They don't die.
They don't die. Yeah. Yeah.
Defense 5, dash 14 nerve, 8 attacks with Thunderous Charge 2. They are just so damn annoying.
Yep. For 105 points, they're super tough to get rid of.
Oh my god. I have a little PTSD of playing Jeremy for like a year
Jeremy
and a half.
ran him last year with
Rashad and Jeremy. Every time I play them, those things are so annoying.
Yep.
Anyway,
agreed.
So well done, Brindley, for drafting in one of Undead's most annoying regiments into your Varinger list.
Otherwise, his list is pretty similar to the last Varinger list we saw with the double mounted Sons and the Frostfang and the Lord of Frostfang and a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, and then we got Mark Cox from the South region sneaking onto this year's Masters team, I think in 9th, with a Spear Warrior Horde with Plague Pots, a Hackpaw Regiment, a Nightmare Horde, a Tunnel Runner Regiment with the Boots of Striding, Shock Troop Horde with Plague Pots and Heavy Halberds, a Wretch Horde, Vermintide Regiment. He just picked everything in the book.
One of each.
Broodmother.
Go through the list.
Broodmother, Night Terror with Blade of Slashing, Night Terror with Mace of Crushing. If those are what I think they are, they're awesome. The big old unpronounceable demon spawn of Mountain Dew, and a Tangle, and a Warlock with Shroud of the Saint and Heal 4. So that's a nifty little Heal 7 kicking around while I look up what some of these things do that I don't know.
150 points for that Warlock, kind of expensive for a heal 7, but he's got a Lightning Bolt built in as well, I think.
Yeah. Lightning Bolt 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lightning Bolt 5's cute.
I actually really like the combo of Lightning Bolt and heal, because I think you use the Lightning Bolt early on, and then when things get stuck, you switch over to healing, and that seems to be a decent combo.
And then the Brood Mother's kicking around with Drain Life 5. Trying to find the Tangle again.
I don't know what Tangle does.
Me neither.
It's a Bane Chant, Fireball, Mind Fog, and Weakness. And it's one of those where it's like a God Speaker or what's it called? The Ogre Wizard, where it buffs it up by up to +3 for each.
Each horde nearby or something.
Yeah, Vermin Horde, Regiment, Horde, or Legion.
Okay.
So you're looking at Bane Chant 4, Fireball 13, Weakness 4, just in case.
So Mark's list is a bit all over the place. I mean, you can see going through it's just one of each, but Nightmares, Tunnel Runners, Shock Troops, they all hit pretty well. Night Terrors are great utility. The Demon Spawn hits hard. I do wonder how this is going to hold up to things coming in and killing it, though.
The heavy halberds give the Shock Troop Horde Phalanx, yeah?
Yeah.
That's
good.
Important.
And the Spear Warriors have it as well.
Because his hammers are Mounted Suns, Frostfang.
Mounted Frostfang, yep.
I mean, the Huskarls, the 2 Huskarls are hammers too, but they're slow.
They're slow as shit, yep.
So
yeah, I mean that's 400 millimeters of untouchable.
Ensnare and Phalanx against those, you're -2 to hit, right? Because they stack.
Yeah, those stack. Those
so that means
hindered.
Well, what has
hindered Phalanx doesn't stack?
The Plague Pots.
The
Plague
Pots.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So if he moves both those up, I don't know. Yeah. They're both good players.
Yeah, they're both good players. I would tend to go with the Smashy Varinger list here, generally speaking. I know the double phalanx can cause problems, but I just think in general the Mark's list is going to have trouble standing up to things dying.
In every game I've played with or against Mounted Suns so far, they've always disappointed me. Well, when I've played with them, when I've played against them, I've been happy because they're not the same anymore. Nowhere near. I'm gonna go with Mark on this one. I think he can take Brindley's hit and heal it up.
This is going to be a really, really skill-dependent match. And I know that's true for a lot of them. That's kind of a stupid thing to say, but like...
Yes and no.
When you have, I think, 2 really interesting armies. You have a lot of tools to disrupt your opponent. So like Brindley's got the aforementioned RevCav Troops of Annoyance. Magnilda, who is the same, Wings of the Honey Maze Lord with a Snow Fox. And then the Baby Dragon Lord on Frostfang, Snow Fox Regiment. There's a lot of stuff there. A Draugr Horde to just get in the way, and a Zombie Regiment, depending on how they're used in the scenario.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of like different heights, speeds, defenses, types of units. And then on the other side, Mark has a lot of the same kind of thing where he has, the Wretch Horde, which is throw away like a Vermintide Regiment, 2 Night Terrors, which are these really interesting disruptors, the big Demon Spawn, and then he has the Nightmares, which have their close range shooting, which can help take out chaff. And so I think it's going to be a really, really interesting, like the area between the 2 main lines, those moves as they get closer to each other, and sort of that whole
real contentious as they line things up.
Yeah, that dance is going to be one of those where, like, I hope it is filmed so you can go back and watch it and see. So it's really interesting. I'm going to give it to Mark on this one because I think there's enough there to disrupt, and he has some hard counters sitting in the list waiting. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Mark.
Of all the ones we've looked at, this is the one I'd want to watch the most.
Yeah, I think this would be good. This would be good. Again, a little bit terrain dependent, scenario dependent, which will influence maybe if somebody gets an advantage or disadvantage when they see what that looks like. But
so vote for this game, people, not mine.
Close going into it. Good. All right, last one, guys. Table 32. We're gonna do Billy Capgun versus Chris Fisher. I'll do this one. Billy's got Free Dwarves, unit strength 23, Horde of Ironclad with Bruce strength, Free Dwarf Ranger Regiment with Hernius' handpicked Rangers. He's got a lot of different stuff here. A Free Dwarf Ranger Regiment, Free Dwarf Brock Rider Regiment with Caterpillar, Free Dwarf Brock Rider Regiment with Boots of Striding, or Earth Elemental Horde, 2 Massive Hunting Packs, Greater Earth Elemental, Spheri Egalax on Hellbrock, Free Dwarf Stone Priest with Conjurer Staff and Bane Chant, another one of those with Martyr's Prayer, Berserker Lord with Blade of the Beast Slayer and on a Brock, and an Army Battle Standard Bearer with the Loot of Insatiable Darkness. And he's up against Chris Fisher's Kingdoms of Men, 23 unit strength, exact same amount. Chris has got 2 Spear Phalanx Hordes, both with Indomitable Will and Pikes, 2 regiments of Polearm Block, a Bowman Horde, 2 Generals on Winged Beast, 3 Cannons, a Siege Artillery, 2 Wizards, both on Pegasus. One's got Lightning Bolt and Bane Chant, the other has a Boomstick and Lightning Bolt. Then he's got some allies that are Abyssal Dwarves. He's got a Decimator Horde, a Heavy Mortar, and a Hexcaster with weakness. Ouch. Ooh.
Dirty.
Oh, that is dirty.
So I asked before.
You guys can't see the video, but Britton gave that a double thumbs down.
I asked about on the group chat before this when we were organizing this if I was allowed to swear. And I thought I would actually be swearing a lot more. But
it's been pretty clean so
this
far.
List.
Yeah,
this
is
list.
A mess.
I don't know you, Chris Fisher, but fuck this list.
You're a bad man.
So what this game really is, and I think like we'll get to the actual analysis of the game, but this is good versus evil, right? Like Billy Capgun, hero of the people, hobby hero, playing a cool dwarf list. It's gonna look awesome. He looks like a dwarf basically, so he's just in character all the time against whatever bullshit this is with humans just allying in even more annoying units. This is a legit basically gun line.
With a bunch of phalanx sitting around to jam up anything that comes near it.
It's like phalanx jamming it up, and then it's like, cool, we brought 3 cannons and a siege artillery. Let's ally in a decimator horde and another heavy and a hexcaster. Like,
yuck.
Good God.
Yuck.
This is one of those lists that's like normally I'm like, oh, allies are fine. It's thematic. It helps people collect new armies and whatever. And this is one of those lists I look at and I'm like, fuck allies. Ban them. It's just nasty.
I mean, and maybe he's done some super cool hobby thing to tie it in, but
does it matter
to me?
No, that doesn't
matters to me because I appreciate hobby, and if he's actually gone through the effort to tie this in and they're cool models and it's got a theme, then okay, you went through the effort. But if
that's wolf in sheep's clothing. No, I want him to show up with gray plastic. I want this to look like exactly what it is. Play around a currently possibly broken thing in the meta that he is capitalizing on as quick as possible to crush people's feelings. I want the army to look like that. I want it sprayed 3-color minimum on like cardboard trays.
So Billy's army is a great just kind of hodgepodge of things picked off the Free Dwarf list. It's just it's cool, right? It's got a little bit of this, it's Army Son of Bear, and a Berserk Lord, and a Stone Priest, and Hunting Packs, and Earth Elemental. It's got a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
it's
we're all rooting for you, Billy.
Yeah, you're gonna get rocked here, bro. Sorry. I wish you could win this game.
Yeah.
I really do.
Go Billy. We love you, Billy.
Yeah. I want Billy to win this game so hard that Chris gets to play George the next round when George loses.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we
awesome.
found
Yeah.
we found the George list. I was joking earlier. Now we found it.
Mm-hmm. This is the one. That's what I would put up against him. All right. Well, this is a foregone conclusion here, I think. Billy, just have a fun game.
You know, I'm trying to pick Billy. It's just hard. Like I can't actually say it.
Well, you know what? Maybe the scenario and the terrain are going to favor him, and all those artillery are not going to have great shots. And then he's got a whole bunch of points invested in stuff that isn't really going to do anything. And Billy's going to walk through that forest and just rock and roll.
I'm not saying
Maybe.
how you should set up the terrain for this board. I'm not saying that there should be just forests over 90% of it with little gaps in between so that you can't see. I'm not saying you should cheat and make Chris Fisher's army have no chance of winning. I'm just saying that if you did, I would be appreciative.
So you know how we set the maps up, right? The maps are paired together with the scenarios. So we have 8.
So they're the same on every table?
Everybody plays on the same map, but every round we're going to draw a scenario, and that scenario has a map we created for that scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, I will play my game against Shannon on a terrible map to make sure you're giving Billy a chance. I will make that sacrifice. Whatever terrible map you come up with that's going to screw Chris Fisher, I'm fine with it. I'll play on it. I think the rest of us, probably 63 other players
everybody's
are good
with
it. 62. Him and George would complain, but
are they both
yeah,
from the
everyone
same
else,
region?
I think we're.
Chris and George are from
Is
the
Chris
same region.
Atlantic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know what region this is from, but I could guess.
Yeah,
is it southeast?
No, it's Mid-Atlantic.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so that's your second block of tables here for the 2020 U.S. Masters. I don't know, guys. Any closing thoughts about big themes you saw here or anything?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little about. I did a quick count and made a chart because I can't help myself. I'm a nerd. For the just like army representation.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't go through all the armies to see who's left out. There's so many theme lists. A lot of the theme lists were left at home.
Right.
I'm actually trying to think like Varangur shows up a couple times as a theme list. There's one Brother Mark army. There are more free dwarves than there are normal dwarves. So the discounted free dwarves are better according to the meta. Night Stalkers and Undead lead with 7 each. And the top 2, so Night Stalkers and Undead, with 14 armies 14 players, equal the bottom 11 represented. So like there's 11 other armies worth of players in just those Night Stalker and Undead players.
Just those 2.
So
yeah.
And then Goblins take third, and then everything sort of rounds back out. But I mean, no army showed up with like 20 of it. No one, 7. I know we joke about there's a lot of Night Stalker players,
but 7 out of 64 is not terrible. It's
a pretty good distribution, actually.
Yeah. That's cool that nobody. There wasn't one army where everybody latched on and said, "This is the thing that's going to break the game, so I'm going to play that."
Yeah.
And everybody didn't go for it.
Well, there's this idea, and I thought there would be less of this. I thought we'd see more like the dojo folks coming out with an entirely new army. No one had seen like 3 of them bringing the same army that was just broken or something. A lot of people just kind of took their old army figures, sort of rejiggered it around, gave it some new toys, and are bringing those. So there were a little less like formed in a lab, fully painted armies popping out,
right,
which I think is good. I think that's good for our scene that didn't happen. But yeah, a lot more Trident Realm than I expected. Undead are great, so I expected them around. And sadly for me, there are 2 orc players. So unlike last year, I don't think I'll be bringing home best orc general.
Bummer.
Eric's list is too good. I think his list is awesome. So.
What do you think, Ryan? Any themes?
there were lots of tough matchups, like real two top players against each other in the first round. At least on our half, you had what? I should have it up. You have George and John, and then you had Travis and Alex.
Mm-hmm.
Those
I think
are,
it was Dustin and Mike Atkins.
and Dustin and Mike.
Right.
I mean, so those are three guys who you would all six of those guys have the capabilities to win round one, and three are going to lose. So
yeah,
that's what stood out to me. Like looking at the matchups, is there's lots of top players historically from previous Masters matched up together.
Sure.
So here's the thing: there's no mercs, right?
So the scene has changed. Yeah.
So we've got no mercs. I'm going to say like Universal Battle and a few other things have sort of been hot coming in the start of V3. So the regions, like I know my region, there's a really good scene down in Southern California that's playing often and playing a league. I know there's good scenes up. So some of these smaller regions that were isolated are traveling to more tournaments, finding ways to be more integrated into the larger Kings of War scene, which my sort of view on it is that the skill gap is shrinking.
Sure.
And that like every game in that room is going to be tough, pretty much. There aren't mercs, there aren't people that shouldn't be in the room for the most part. It's good players with good lists. Like there wasn't a single list I saw today that was like, that's a bad list. So
cool. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining for this. I'm going to get this posted ASAP, so let me get it edited down. Everybody who stuck around, I apologize if you heard, my kids or Ryan's kids running around in the background. So thanks for sticking it out. Super excited about the Masters, and we'll see you all there next weekend.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I only have one. I only have one dragon left to paint, so I'm in good shape this year.
Yeah, get all your stuff painted. You got like 5 days left to do it, so get it done.
I got this.
All right. See you, everyone. Catch you next weekend at the Masters.
Yep, sounds good.